Today we're going to talk about one of the coolest things to come out of a beehive, bee bread. I mean, this stuff is a nutritional powerhouse, but how do we actually get it? Turns out there are two totally different ways to go about it. One is the old school, natural way, and the other, well, that one involves a bit of clever human innovation.
All right, first things first, what exactly is bee bread? Because it's not just pollen, it's way more interesting than that. The bees take pollen, pack it into the honeycomb, and then they mix in honey and their own special enzymes from their saliva. And here's the real magic. They seal it all up and let it ferment. That fermentation process is what turns regular pollen into this incredibly potent, easy-to-digest protein source that the whole hive relies on.
So, for the longest time, how did beekeepers get their hands on this amazing stuff? Let's look at the traditional method, which is all about working with what the bees have already done on their own.
It's actually a pretty simple three-step deal. You go into the hive, find the frames that are just loaded with bee bread, and you pull them out. But the real trick, the secret sauce to this whole method, is freezing. You stick the whole comb in the freezer. This makes the beeswax super brittle, so you can just break it apart, and those little dense pellets of bee bread pop right out of their cells.
Now, here's the catch. While this method is 100% natural, it is not fast. Not at all. It's super labor-intensive. You're often using little hand tools to carefully separate the bee bread from all the bits of wax. So, yeah, it's perfect if you're a hobbyist or just doing a tiny batch, but if you want to produce any serious quantity, it becomes a huge bottleneck.
But what if you could make the whole thing easier? What if you could kind of guide the bees so they do the hard work for you, but in a much more efficient way? This is where a little bit of innovation changes the game completely. This new process is all about precision right from the start. Instead of just hoping the bees fill up some cells, the beekeeper actually starts with a measured amount of pollen, usually about 100 grams for a standard frame. And get this, they often use a single source pollen chosen for its specific flavor or nutritional benefits.
What's so brilliant about this is that the beekeeper basically preps a little starter kit for the bees. They take an empty comb, spread that specific pollen all over it, and then mix in just a little bit of honey to make it all stick together. Then, they pop this perfectly prepared frame into a really strong hive and just let the bees do their thing.
And of course, the bees know exactly what to do. For about the next 17 days, they go to work. They pack that pollen mixture down tight, add their saliva with all those important enzymes, and kick off the whole fermentation process. By the end, you don't just have a few cells of bee bread, you have an entire frame of pure, uniform, high-quality stuff.
This chart right here just lays it all out perfectly. With the natural method, you get a random mix of pollens, whatever the bees happen to find that day. But with the controlled method, you get a consistent, single-source product. The whole frame is the same, which makes harvesting way easier and is an absolute game changer if you want to scale up production.
Okay, so you've got this amazing frame of bee bread, no matter how you harvested it. What are the final steps? How do you get it ready to eat or to sell?
You've really got two main options here. If you want to use it fresh, right away, you can just pop it in the fridge. But for selling it commercially or just storing it long-term, you're going to want to dehydrate it at a fairly low temperature. This makes it shelf-stable, just like dried pollen, and gets it ready for packaging and hitting the market.
And why does any of this even matter? Well, because bee bread is not just some weird byproduct from a hive, it's a genuine superfood. It's absolutely jam-packed with vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. Plus, that fermentation makes it all super easy for our bodies to absorb. It's got a real and growing market value, which makes these new harvesting techniques super important for any modern beekeeper.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. This controlled method, it opens up so many possibilities. I mean, if you can choose the exact pollen that goes in, could you create designer bee bread? Imagine custom blends made for athletes or for immune support or for any other specific health goal, all of it crafted by the bees themselves. The potential there is just incredible.